I'm blown away by the gift that my wife gave me for our anniversary. So it starts with Amber hearing this piece on NPR about an astronaut named Stu Roosa, who took a container full of tree seeds into space on the Apollo 14 mission in 1971. When he brought these seeds back from space, he had them planted all around the country, and now there's an organization run by his daughter called the Moon Tree Foundation. And they get the seed from the moon trees and they call them half-moon trees. On July 30th, 1976, they planted one of those moon seeds in San Luis Obispo. At that time, my aunt, Sally Ride, seen here, would have been a PhD student at Stanford. And while the moon tree was growing near the San Luis Obispo mission, my aunt was preparing in her own way for her own mission, if you will. On January 1st, 1982, I was born in San Luis Obispo. At that time, the tree would have been about 25 to 30 feet tall. On June 18th, 1983, about 18 months later, my aunt went to space. At that time, our moon tree back in San Luis Obispo would have been about 35 feet tall. Anyway, my wife hears this story on NPR and she thinks, I got to get in touch with the Moon Tree Foundation and tell them this story and get my husband some moon seeds. But then there's more. She got an image taken from Apollo 14 of the moon, and she printed it on transparency. And then she got an image of the moon tree in San Luis Obispo, where I was born, and she took these two images and she put them down on paper, and she put the chemicals needed to do a cyanotype. You put something on top of paper, you have a chemical that's on top of that, and then when you uncover it and show it to the light,
oh, it's awesome.
Then whatever you have laying on top of it is imprinted on your paper now. Printing all of this on the solstice, the shortest day of the year, the longest night of the year. The idea of this, to me, feels profoundly elegant and incredibly beautiful. There's something poetic about stitching our lives together, taking observations of the people around us and the cycles of the moon, comparing the lifetime of a tree to the lifetime of humans. My wife hearing the story and making all these connections and recognizing the beautiful synchronicities of life and having the idea to create art out of it, using the sun on the solstice. Being human is cool. And I think my wife's a witch. And I think I'm becoming more present. And I'm here for all of that.